Welcome to the place they call the Chuck. The Charleston's been rocking as an all-ages music venue for the past decade, and I'm going to take you on a tour inside on this week's edition of the Bremerton Beat Blast. Stick with us. Welcome back to this edition of the Bremerton Beat Blast, sponsored by the Admiral Theater. Story number one today, we begin at the Charleston, which dates back to 1936 as a cinema in Bremerton. It's gone through various incarnations in its time in Bremerton, but today it's an all-ages rock venue, and it recently celebrated its 10th anniversary.
Well, we were running the AFU Hall, the Artists for Freedom and Unity, with a few fellow Bremertonians a while back, and we needed a space for louder and more intense shows, so we decided to move it on over here in this building. It was up for rent for a few years, so it was just sitting here not being used, and we thought, man, it wouldn't be cool if we could have shows over there and we could keep it all ages and do the bar and just have Bremerton be a hub for the music scene like it used to be.
Spread your arms and hold your breath.
It's going to be loud and fast most of the time, mostly metal, punk rock, but we have occasional indie shows, acoustic shows. I think musically Bremerton's really diverse, and that's what I love for like such a small town. Over here it's just like everyone's kind of supportive of each other's bands.
Story number two today, the Roundabout has come back around. That's right, city leaders are again considering the idea of doing a traffic circle at the intersection of Washington Avenue where it meets the west end of the Manette Bridge. This project would cost about $4.8 million, and they're applying for federal funding to secure grants that would pay for most of it, although city taxpayers would be on the hook for about $648,000. Now, the traffic circle there would help ease congestion during the 4 o'clock rush hour, as most people, 80%, turn on to the bridge. But the project does have its detractors who say it's too costly and the corridor too narrow to put in such a traffic circle. Story number three today, show of hands, who here has played at the Warren Avenue Playfield? The park is due for a redevelopment. City leaders are eyeing a project that would completely remake this historic park at the corner of 11th and Warren Avenue. Public comments being taken right now through May 8th, and I'll have a story in the Kitsap Sun in the coming days ahead. Story number four this week, ferry commuters, you've probably noticed that the Chimacum ferry's not operating on the Seattle-Bremerton run right now. That's because it's out for maintenance for the next couple of weeks, including getting some boosters that should help with cell signal service on the state ferry. It'll be back on the run, and we'll see how those boosters work when it returns. And finally, story number five this week, mark your calendars, Bremerton, June 23rd is going to be a very exciting day. Most people don't know that in 1918, Manette became a part of Bremerton. 12 years later, the Manette Bridge was built, and 50 years ago, the Warren Avenue Bridge was built. They were used for cars, but many of us use what's called the bridges, the 3-mile route around the two spans. I've created a special map and guide to the bridge loop, and I'll be releasing it on June 23rd to go with a whole day of festivities to include nature walks, a walk looking at the history of art along the route, a special scavenger hunt for kids, and culminating with a Manette Centennial pub crawl that evening. Hope to see you there. That's our show for this week, Bremerton. We'll see you next time. This week's Bremerton Beat Blast soundtrack was Pass It On by local songwriter and up-and-coming artist Sophia Fay, and was produced at Jeff Tassin Studios.
You could pass it